Hello everyone and welcome to my favourite first watches from July through September. So again, the way these videos work is I'll just say some of my favourite first watches through the past few months basically. There's no specific order to this, and yeah, let's just get into it. So the first few films I want to talk about in terms of my favourite films that I watched for the first time these past few months is a couple of Mike Leigh's first of all. I've been re-watching and watching for the first time a bunch of Mike Leigh's stuff, the works of Mike Leigh. I'd already seen all of his feature films a few years ago and I'm now going through the rest of the short films and his TV films and plays I haven't yet seen. So yeah, one of my favourites I watched for the first time recently of his is A Sense of History. So A Sense of History is a short film and it's actually written by Jim Broadbent. It's the only Mike Leigh that's not written by Mike Leigh basically. And I think it's basically the only thing that Jim Broadbent has ever written. I'm pretty certain it is, in terms of like stuff that's been put on TV or, you know, in cinemas. And yeah, it's a short film and he's basically just walking through his family estate and the land that he owns, and he just talks about his family and his life, and it's such a great short film. I would say don't look at the plot of this on Google. It gives a pretty big spoiler. You know, I did see the spoiler beforehand, but if you can, I would say try to avoid googling the film. But yeah, no, I like this short film a lot. I think it's a must see, to be honest, and it's on YouTube, and it's so funny, it's so tragic, and it's really disturbing as well. Jim Broadbent gives an amazing performance, and he wrote this incredibly well. I'm really surprised he hasn't written much more than this. This was really investing. Again, it's only like 20 odd minutes, and it's shot really well as well and directed amazingly by Mike Leigh. So 100% recommend checking that out. It's one of the best short films I've seen lately. The other short film I want to talk about from Mike Leigh that I saw for the first time recently is A Light Snack. This is Mike Leigh done a whole bunch of 5-minute short films for the BBC, and this was, I think, the fourth that he done of the 5-minute shorts, and it was a 5-minute short film, and I don't really want to say much about it at all. It's just 5 minutes. Go ahead and watch it if you want to, if you feel like checking it out. I'll say a little bit about the plot. It's like about the production of a sausage roll and the process of that, from, you know, the production of it to the customer eating it, and it shows both sides, and it's just, yeah, it's really funny by the end. I'd definitely recommend checking it out. The next film I want to talk about is The Shallows. So it's just a really simple, well-made shark film. Blake Lively is the lead performance in this, and she plays a woman who goes to a beach, and when surfing she is attacked by a shark and gets stranded on a rock and tries to survive and potentially make her way back to shore. It's just, yeah, it's not like a great film or anything, but it's pretty good, and it was really investing, and yeah, it's again, as I said, a well-made shark film. If you're into that, if you're interested in shark films, I would recommend The Shallows. The next film really surprised me actually. It's called The House. So this is a comedy film and it stars Will Ferrell and Amy Poehler, and they basically open up an illegal casino to pay for their daughter's university. Really, really funny lead performances in this. There's a lot of laugh out loud moments. I was surprised, but it didn't have great ratings. But I sort of, with comedy films, it's kind of, you can never, even if something's got like a 5 point something on IMDb, that's not really that much of a worrying sign really with comedies, because they do get trashed on a lot, even if they are really funny films. So yeah, no, but it still did surprise me. I did laugh quite a lot at this, and yeah, decent film. Recommend it. One of my favourite films of the past few months recently I watched for the first time is Mean Girls. This is the original Mean Girls film from 2004, I believe. And yeah, it's a high school coming of age film directed by Mark Waters and written by Tina Fey. And yeah, it stars Lindsay Lohan, and she's basically navigating public high school after being homeschooled her whole life, and joining different groups and stuff. She's sent by her initial friends to join the popular group to destroy the reputation, basically, of like the leader of that popular group, played by Rachel McAdams, who gives a really great performance in this as well. They all of them give really good performances. Lindsay Lohan has got an amazing script as well. But yeah, she kind of starts to enjoy being in the group, and yeah, I won't say much else other than that. But yeah, it's a really well made film. It was really funny, very investing, great performances, as I said. And yeah, just a really well done comedy with some good messages. The next film is Bloodsport, starring Jean-Claude Van Damme. This was just a really fun, campy martial arts film about Jean-Claude Van Damme participating in a underground fighting tournament. It's not got it's not like an amazing film. A lot of the acting throughout isn't great necessarily, but there's likeable characters, some great fight scenes, and it's just, yeah, it's got a nice 80s charm. Good film. Recommend it if you're into martial arts films. Next up is The Hunt from 2020. This is a really hard one to talk about without spoilers, so I'll just say a group of elites, so to speak, capture a bunch of people and participate in what's called the hunt. Again, not much I can say about this other than it's pretty decent. It's not a great film, but I enjoyed it. It's got some good action scenes. It's got some really funny moments as well. It's got some good performances from Betty Gilpin, I believe you pronounce her name. There's a lead. Hilary Swank was good in it. Ike Barinholtz. There's a bunch of good performances. It's as I said, really funny. Yeah, just an enjoyable action film with some pretty good comedy in it. Next up is a film that I wanted to see for quite a while actually. It's Vampire's Kiss with Nicolas Cage. And it's about Nicolas Cage basically, as the film progresses, being convinced he is a vampire. It's probably Nicolas Cage's most over-the-top Nick Cage performance, like very, very much a Nick Cage performance, and obviously just really enjoyable as a result. It's not, I wouldn't say it's a good film, I'd say it's more of an average film, but I'd say if you're at all interested in checking out some of Nicolas Cage's most over-the-top performances, this is by far and away, in my opinion, his most over-the-top performance, and yeah, I enjoyed it quite a lot. And yeah, no, it is well made as well. It is pretty well made. It does feel like, probably I'd say a bit longer than it is at times, but again, Nicolas Cage's performance throughout is so over the top that it's kind of a must see in my opinion. Yeah, really funny and a decently made vampire film with Nicolas Cage. Next up is a 1985 horror film, Fright Night. So this is of course a horror film. William Ragsdale as a teenager who notices his next door neighbour is a vampire and basically tries to convince people of it, and he basically along the way hires the help of an actor called Peter Vincent, who stars in this horror TV program called Fright Night, and he stars as a vampire hunter, and he's played by Roddy McDowall. And obviously, but yeah, Roddy McDowall's a great actor from the original Planet of the Apes films and How Green Was My Valley and a whole bunch of other stuff. And he's a standout performance in this, in my opinion. He gives a really enjoyable performance. And yeah, things sort of go from there. Yeah, no, it's not quite, as an overall film, it wasn't quite as necessarily good as I expected, but it's definitely a good film. It's very well made. It's got some good performances. As I said, Roddy McDowall is a standout performance, as well as Chris Sarandon, who I don't want to give too much spoilers about his character, but he gives a really good performance as well. So yeah, no, another vampire horror film from the 80s that I watched for the first time recently that was a pretty good film. And the last film I'm going to talk about is Hannum High. So this is a Western film, and yeah, it stars Clint Eastwood, and he plays a man who sort of, it opens up with him getting lynched by a bunch of people who think that he killed a certain person. And yeah, they got the wrong person, and he, throughout the film, is trying to go after those people. And along the film, he's hired by a judge who is played by Pat Hingle, and he hires him to bring the men to him, but to not kill them, to bring them back alive, basically. And yeah, I won't say much more than that. It's a decent Western. It definitely, again, it did feel a bit longer than it was. It did drag in places, but it is a pretty powerful film, and it's amazingly shot. It's got absolutely stunning original score by Dominic Frontier. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but yeah, a great original score from him. And yeah, it's got some interesting themes, and it is, as I said, it is pretty powerful. It's got some really great performances. Some characters are kind of hard to figure out at times, but by the end I think it pays off relatively well. There's definitely some things I didn't like about it, and I think the romance is a bit shoehorned in. But yeah, no, it's a decent Western, and Clint Eastwood is always great. And yeah, so it was an interesting Western film, Hannum High. Definitely recommend it if you're into Westerns at all. So actually that's not all of the films I watched for the month. There are a few more, so I'll just run through those as well. So a bunch of Laurel and Hardy's that I watched for the first time in the past few months. So the first one is Should Married Men Go Home? It's not a great one, it's a pretty good one, it's a silent one, and it's basically about Lauren Hardy going off to a golf game after Hardy's wife kicks him out for certain reasons, and they meet some young women there, and there's a very similar scene in this to their sound short, Men O' War, which is pretty cool. It's always cool to see a director or actor's earlier work, then sort of remake that in their later work. But yeah, no, I really like the second half of this one, and when they're actually playing golf or attempting to, it leads to a lot of funny gags. So yeah, it's a pretty decent one. And the other Laurel and Hardy is Twice Two. This is sort of the famous one for Laurel and Hardy being in drag. So they're married to each other's sisters, and they have a get together. And so the sisters are played by Laurel and Hardy. And yeah, so it's really funny to see that sort of dynamic of, them playing both their normal characters and also like women characters as well. Hardy being in a relationship with a Laurel in drag, and Laurel being in a relationship with a Hardy in drag. It was really charming and funny to see. But I do feel like it was a bit of a missed opportunity, this one. They have sort of dubbed voices from other actresses for the woman personas of Laurel and Hardy. And I feel like it would have been a lot funnier if they just try to imitate feminine voices themselves. And some of the humour is a bit different in this one. It's not quite top tier Laurel and Hardy humour. That being said, it was still very funny, and there were some really funny moments. And yeah, it's a really cool premise that was executed well, even if it could have been executed even better. Next is the Midnight Patrol. This one, they're basically cops and they're not very good at their job. This is probably the best of the Laurel and Hardys I saw for the first time over the past few months. It was just hilarious from start to finish, and the concept is like perfect comedy material anyway, of them being cops, you know, and yeah, a lot of laugh out loud moments in this one for sure. Next up is Liberty. This is probably their most famous silent short. So I watched this for the first time recently, and yeah, so they're basically, they've escaped from prison and are on the run, and yeah, it was a really well constructed short film. It felt a lot more cinematic than some of the other silent shorts I've seen of theirs. It's not as laugh out loud funny as a few of the other Laurels I've seen lately, but I did still like this one a lot, and just, yeah, it's a great short and really nice to watch. It was, I really like how in this one, in a very subtle way, it kind of showed how much they do care about each other, and yeah, it was just a really nice, heartwarming short to see. Very intense, well executed scenes as well in the second half, and some things going for a bit long, but I would say overall it was a very good short. And of course, yeah, one of the most iconic silents for sure. And the last of the Laurels I watched for the first time recently is Going Bye Bye. So in this one, Laurel and Hardy basically give evidence that lands a criminal played by Walter Long in prison, and so he vows revenge on them, and soon afterwards they plan to leave town somehow, and it kind of goes from there. This was again a really funny short from start to finish. Walter Long is always great in these Laurel and Hardys. He's also in the Laurel and Hardy short Any Old Port, which is a really amazing one. But yeah, no, not much more to say about this one. It was really funny, and yeah, some really laugh out loud and intense scenes. So the final film I'm talking about in this video is Moon. This is a sci-fi film starring Sam Rockwell, and yeah, so it involves him basically coming to the end of his 3-year contract on a space station, and I'm not going to say anything else about the plot really. This was a good film. It took a very interesting direction as it went on. Most of the plot developments, you know, as it becomes clearer as it goes on, I'd say worked mostly quite well. Sam Rockwell's performance was really good in this, and Kevin Spacey gives a pretty good voice performance as well. It never really affected me emotionally, which I think the film was definitely going for that kind of vibe at times. And it is pretty much a one location film. Now, one location films can be amazing, you know, 12 Angry Men, Lock, you know, pretty much most of 127 Hours. So they can be, you know, really great, but they can also sometimes work to the film's detriment, I think. And here it mostly worked, but I felt like it became a bit stale after a while. And I do generally like, you know, beautiful shots of space in a space film, and you don't get too much of that here. It was a bit dull at times, and I really disliked the ending, but overall it was a solid film, and yeah, very, very good lead performance from Sam Rockwell, and yeah, interesting plot as well, you know, as the film goes on. The plot developments are really interesting, so yeah, I'd recommend it for sure. So yeah, those were some of my favourite first watches from the past few months, from July through to September, and yeah, maybe I'll be back with another one of these in a few months, and with another whole bunch of favourite first time watches. And yeah, thank you for watching.